Welcome to Degrees Between Us, hosted by me, Professor Keenan Harder. We're at Minnesota State University in, beautiful February 2025. I think you can't see it outside, but it's snowing and it's wonderful. I love snow. So this is a podcast that is meant to kind of show off kind of what we're up to in higher ed and maybe address some of the misconceptions, but at the same time, just kind of share cool stories and have fun and be funny and kind of show like what it's like as professor and student and things like that. So welcoming my third guest, Sarah Overstar, one of my research minions. So, how's your day going so far as your semester?
My day is good. My chem class got canceled, so I had nothing to do, basically.
That's the worst thing to tell your professor, that class got canceled and that it's happy.
Well, it was snowing outside, and I didn't want to get out of bed, honestly.
Wait a sec. So you walked all the way here just to do the little podcasting thing?
Well, I live just down over. Oh, sorry. I live down over there.
Oh, that's true. That's fair.
So.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Why'd you end up choosing biology, things like that?
I chose biology because it was something I was good at. I had really nice teachers in high school, and I just kind of fell in love with it my last 2 years of high school.
Nice. What were like some of the stories that you felt like when you got to learn them that you were like, that's cool?
I remember so my high school was an international baccalaureate high school, so it was more like upper level or whatever. So I took upper level biology classes, and the first one I took, I just remember learning about enzymes, and I was like, I've never heard of that before, and I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Nice.
So,
yeah, I think this episode will be fun. We're going to turn this into like a society and culture one into just a straight science one, I think. So
okay.
Buckle up, yeah. But enzymes is where we lose most people.
Really?
Yeah, no, definitely. But like now, like in pharmacology, for example, that's the whole game of like, did you ever have like the people that were like, don't try drugs, kids, like don't try them ever once,
like
come into the school. Yeah, dare would come in. What they're actually trying to prevent is that if you're double recessive for 2 liver enzymes that might digest meth or opioids and you don't have them, you get like the death dose out of one. Oh. And that's why that's why you get a lot of people that like take a drug the first time and they die. It's because they're double recessives.
Yeah.
Deleterious, right? See, genes, yeah. But yeah, so because I think your background, you wanted to do like pure science, and how did you kind of like deflect the slings and arrows of pre-dental and pre-med?
I'm really scared of the dentist, so I knew I didn't want to do dentistry. And then I just thought medical school was so long, and it took so much. And I just wanted to discover something new. Like I like furthering. I like being a part of something. So I was like, hey, this is perfect.
That's fun, yeah. And you participate in research here at MSU. How's that been going?
It's been going good. It's really fun.
That's a joke, yeah, because Sarah's on my team. Yeah, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, part of the fun thing with like discovery and stuff, this is in the news right now, is not just the funding, but the idea it's like, we're in a lab, for example, that does research a disease. And to be fair, MSU is a teaching place. So research that I do for cancer research is, I don't want to call it secondary, but like teaching's more important. We teach 4 classes a semester. We do our research though on the side, and like, I love it still. You guys are having a great time. It is strictly lymphoma based, right? Like very specific. When you hear the word like basic or essential research, it means like we're going to look at these weird things in this fungi. We're going to look at this weird bird or this plant. All that stuff can like lead to like crazy cool stuff though, like CRISPR or like GFP or PCR and stuff. So where would you lie on that in terms of like, where would you want to focus if you ended up anywhere?
If I ended up anywhere, I would probably still want to do something like human based. Yeah, I don't know. I would kind of like to stay in the like medical field still. As a researcher, I think just learning more about the body and like stuff like Alzheimer's and ALS, where we don't necessarily have a distinct thing we can just give people. I really want to help further finding a cure for that.
Right. And it is a long road. And like, I wonder, if we get to that point where someday it's like, we did it, like with something like that. Because I mean, it seems impossible sometimes. And it seems like, history's already written for biology in a lot of cases because it is in a book and in a textbook and it's really dense already. But can you imagine what it was like I think it was the 70s when it was like smallpox is gone. Like it's fine. It's over forever. Yeah. Like is the idea. Um, we didn't talk about the in genetics, but there's still 2 samples of smallpox alive.
Yeah, I did. I actually just watched that
Oh, did you
episode.
want? Yeah. Okay. Good. Nice. Yeah. There's one in Russia and one in the U.S. and it's still like, and everybody destroyed their samples except us. We were like,
Mhm.
no, it was bad. Um, but like in terms of like learning things, and this has kind of been a theme of the show too, has been like there's a balance between like GPA, like protection, which can get extreme, or like how much you actually put yourself out there to like fail, learn, etc. Where do you think the best balance of that exists?
Um, I think people should definitely fail like their first time. Like I remember like the first genetics exam, I got like a C or something on, but the
I don't
next
think it
two,
was that bad.
exactly, it wasn't failing per se, but I thought I was going to do a lot better. And then the next two, I did perfectly fine because I knew like what I had to change
Mhm.
to do well. And then like failing experiments and stuff like that too. I'll get data's good data in the end. Like my research that I did with Dr. Cohen's Rise Biostream, like we got not significant results, and we basically worked on it for an entire year, which it's like, yeah, it wasn't significant at the end of the day, but I learned a lot to, you know, do other things,
Yeah.
like using that stuff that I learned. So I thought it was worthwhile in the end.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I think even not to make it too adventurous, but it's like even like in the old exploration age, there were probably plenty of trips that was like we found nothing. It was a dead end.
Yeah.
But nobody ever had to go that way again, right?
Yeah,
And so you
exactly.
do cross stuff off every time, and like human knowledge builds, every little piece. Um, but in terms of, I was trying to think, I had something specific to ask. Oh no, I was actually going to make fun of you a bit for the
Oh,
genetics exam.
okay.
No, because so it was funny. I remember the meme board.
Yeah.
So I put a meme board of all these memes, and like everybody was. I was like, "How do you guys feel before the exam?" And everybody's doing a scared one.
Hmm.
Sarah, which one did you pick?
I picked like the handsome Squidward one, like the most confident out
Supreme
of all of them.
confidence.
Yeah.
And
And then
I sent you the thing. I was like, "You were the chosen one.
I know,
How
I
could this
know. I
happen?"
was on like a fishing trip that weekend too, and I was
Oh,
just like looking, I was on the boat and I was like, ooh,
that's
well,
fine. But no, I remember what I was going to say. People think that I think a generalization of higher ed is that it's some sort of content stuffing, but you already hit it on the head. It was the ability to do something, fail something, but then be like, all right, I'm picking these back up and I'm
hmm,
better now.
yeah.
And it all worked out perfect.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have that mentality of, "Oh, I didn't do so well. I'm just not good at it." Like I have a couple people like I could name of like, no, you just have to like keep going. Like they do something and they fail, and then it's like, I'm not gonna try this again. And
Yeah. No, and I'll hear it. So that brings up a perfect point, which is like, when you identify as a something thing, like I am bad at math, when people say that I'm a bad math person, that seeps in psychologically pretty roughly.
hmm,
So if, and it goes into an idea that I have yet to introduce on the podcast, but I'm glad that you kind of jogged me. An idea can change. An idea can fail and be rebuilt. And nobody dies over an idea. Nobody cries over an idea. But a belief gets people, beliefs get wars started type of stuff. And like even internal, like head war type stuff. But no, you're right. And I think that's been one of the hardest things as a prof in the last 2 years versus the 4 before this that I was teaching was the tolerance for any disappointment is sort of gone down a bit, even though that's kind of the whole game is learning that back and forth. Obviously, I don't design my classes to be like torture fests or something, but genetics is hard. Like these other things are hard. There are outcomes that we have to meet. We have to be all sciencey. But no, I mean, you bring up a good point where it's like if you can build that growth mindset stuff, and I don't want to go like full Tony Robbins motivational speaker here, but it goes a long way. The human psyche is really big on that. And I think here I'll tell this story. I mean, I told you all in genetics, and I'll tell everybody out here. I had the strangest, the pinnacle of what you just said happened. Basically, you may know now who I'm talking about. I don't know if we covered it yet. Who? So,
you have to keep going with the story.
oh, okay. It was the genetics final.
Oh, okay.
So last fall, 2024, we had to do the final in 2 parts, a Tuesday and a Thursday. We made the adjustments, but it definitely made for a tougher Monday and Tuesday on the final schedule. We'll all put it that way, and we'll be fine with that.
Okay.
And which is fair. But but we figured it out. But the Tuesday, what happened was I had like kind of made some people move in the back. I was like, hey, like, kind of spread out a bit. Um, One of your classmates just picked up their stuff and they left. 0.0, Mr.
Oh,
Blutarski. That's an it's a Animal House reference. But
oh, okay.
did you know that? Yeah, that's the
I
thing I said on Thursday, remember?
Yeah, I remember it
Yeah.
happened. I don't know who it is, but
Well, good. We have to keep it that way.
okay.
But yeah, they left. And it was like that thing that you just said where it's like if any bad thing happens, it's that it was just like it's collapsed, it's
Mhm.
done. And it was like, no, like there's so many more ways this could still go down. It's okay. Um and to see just a straight zero show up for this person was just devastating because I was like they would have passed, I think, by just writing things. And I knew they,
Mhm.
I don't know. It was the strangest thing that I've ever had as a prof ever happen. And that's why I like reflected on it to you guys. But yeah, I know. And I'm tough. I mean, there was definitely tough times for me in college when I went to Carleton. Because academically I came from a public school and I just felt like I never belonged at all in any way. For the first like year and a half, I'd say I started to get it because I did make enough friends and build enough network and sort of like start believing like, and I started to see that I had different talents than a lot of them. And I started to find out I could like speak on things and like kind of go that direction and like tell stories better and things like that. But my dad actually gave me like the best advice ever where he's like my dad had a pretty he had a pretty rough, not a rough life, but like there was a lot of up and downs for that guy, and he's a strong guy. I don't know if he knows how to work his phone hard enough to actually view this, so that's fine. But I'll never forget it when he was like, "There is no superpower." You know what I did? I never gave up, and that's it. And that is a superpower. That's like X-Men shit. And I was like, not to say I didn't get a little emotional after that, and I geared back up and we got back in there and we finished it. That's fine. But I mean, have you encountered things like I don't know, have you encountered anything like that in your journey to college that have been like super tough? Like, I don't know.
Um, well, I mean, obviously COVID. Like COVID
Yeah.
happened when I was in high school. So think about like 2 years of like not the most important years of your life, but very molding. Those were just gone. I was like sitting in my bed for 2 years doing schoolwork, and that was very different. But after COVID happened, it was kind of you had to like learn how to do school again. And
Yeah.
especially when these are the grades that matter, you have your ACTs coming up, like you kind of have to get it together. So I thought that was pretty hard. Um, how about other like super I guess um my senior year of high school, I sorry, I couldn't yeah, my senior year of high school, my aunt actually was diagnosed with ALS. So
Okay.
I spent a lot of time taking care of her and working at that time. So the last like year was pretty rough, but it gave me like more motivation to do things. So and I think that's why I'm more successful here.
Yeah.
So
No, and I mean, I think that's the other side of things is a lot of people will assume like, well, every college student is rich and sensitive in this.
yeah.
What I learned as a professor is that like, well, even just now, you guys have a lot more things happening than I
Mhm.
know on the surface. And I think people get jaded and I get jaded when I'm like, that person's cheating. They're not coming to my exam or something. And
Mhm.
I think that's another thing that we've addressed a little bit on the show that there's plenty of people in higher ed that do take the wrong approach to talking to people and
Yeah.
interacting with things. Um, and part of this show is to kind of show like, hey, like we self-reflect a little bit, and that it's not some special club. Like I'm just kind of just we're both just normal
Yeah,
people.
like we're just here.
We're both just chill guys, right? So, what
Yeah.
wasn't that funny? um, but I don't know. I think you bring up a good point with the COVID stuff. Would you say people always have this question? Would you say that we are out of it?
No, oh my gosh,
No. Oh
no.
no.
No, I
That
mean,
was darker than I expected. Why? What else?
well, if you know, like, oh, I have a lot to say on this,
All
but
right, go ahead.
I mean, from a personal standpoint, my dad was super affected by COVID. Like, he ended up hospitalized when it was all happening. He's fine now. He's,
Okay.
he's no, he's totally good.
Okay.
But it's like we just lost all this compassion of, well, I'm not going to take the vaccine, and I'm not going to follow wearing a mask, which was kind of crazy. And it's there's real people getting hurt out there, and you just don't care. So I thought that was kind of weird. And I think we haven't really recovered from that either. But from a personal standpoint, my dad was affected. My cousins were affected by it. Even I was, like, I have asthma now because I got COVID. So it's like there's lingering health effects, and the public still doesn't have a good attitude towards something like this. I know the bird flu is really on a lot of people's minds right now. I don't know if we could go through another pandemic like that again.
Yeah. No, I think I kind of lightly brought it up in genetics that, COVID is to be like massively respected for what it can do.
Mhm.
But a virus that only, and I say only, mutates into a few ways because it always has to hook into the host, will never be as dangerous as what a prokaryote that can evolve could do.
Mhm.
So if this ever happens and it's a bacteria or a fungi like in The Last of Us, oh boy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and I think, I mean, no, you bring up good points about like kind of just the compassion side of things. I I remember feeling though, like when we were stuck, it was like, go, get out, open, please, like because we all did kind of go through that. I think I don't know, it almost highlighted how bad it is to socially isolate.
Mhm.
But then, what's the best thing that we can do? I don't even have my phone, but I was going to do the like you go right in, and that's been the hardest thing to recover from class wise in COVID is like just building any community, people outside labs, people talking
Mhm.
to anybody because there is a safety net in not putting yourself out there now.
Yeah.
Which I think one of the bigger things, because it's like, again, we've talked about this on this show so far with a couple of the other guests. You can YouTube Pathophys, you can YouTube Farm, you can Khan Academy, both things. Perfect. But that's not like the other side of it. Like I see you and like Emma and some of your friends in that community that like Rise Bio built. And it's like that is so much more powerful than sitting at home watching videos, taking notes. And even
Yeah.
if you were able to assess those notes somehow with no teacher or professor, it would still mean so little. No, and I think part of this too, part of the show is to sort of humanize and remember like we're we're definitely not in here like indoctrinating you. And I know I've made this joke already. If I could indoctrinate my students to read the syllabus, my
Yeah.
life would be so much easier. I can barely get a third of my of genetics students overall do not come to 90% of the classes. And if you do a T test on those scores, it's just like that. I think I did the stats the other day. 7% of people that attend over 90% of the lectures fail. That's it. It's only
Mhm.
7%. And that's still counting the people that watch Netflix in there. Yeah, because you're up in the back. I know you had an
I
angle on a couple, maybe.
Yeah.
I had a couple angles on a couple suspects I had last year. Um, but if you don't attend 90% of lectures, 45% of, no, wait, 49.5% of those students failed overall. And that's 250. That's 3 cohorts of genetics that I've kept track of this with my IRB. And the attendance thing, I think, again, is one of the COVID things where it's like, we don't go to school. I couldn't imagine in high school skipping. My mom was a teacher, though, and she would have thrown me
Yeah.
off a cliff, I think. Yeah, I described my dad a little bit, and he's kind of like a Western Colorado, like kind of cowboyish looking guy. My mom's 5'4", like super nice. I am terrified of my mom when she's mad. Like I was like, my wife's always been like, who's scarier, Lisa or Tom? And I was like, Lisa by a mile. You've never seen an angrier person.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, no, you bring up the core thing that I know I'm kind of skirting around is going to school, getting a PhD, getting a BA, getting a master's doesn't make you better than anybody. It doesn't make you, I'm going to say it, being smart and intelligent is a very broad thing. Okay. I am not going to go tell a plumber, though, that I have no idea how he's working this stuff. Your training indoctrinated you against me and you're charging me too much money. You ever heard it that way, Spun? Yeah. I wouldn't
Yeah.
just go up to a guy and be like, your training's full of S and I think this is so dumb. Like, I don't know why you're charging me this. Like, your trade school degree means nothing, even though it's the literal thing he's intelligent about and it's
Yeah.
wonderful. And like, you still can adjust on stuff. Anyway, it isn't like the degree is not some ticket. It is the experience and it's sort of what you make of it. But where this is going is that most likely, if somebody has gone through the hellish PhD process, for example, and
Mhm.
survived on the other end, we'll talk about that someday with me and
Okay.
you. But um, and they have experience and they've been peer-reviewed, published. You got to remember the peers in the field are trying to knife them in the back with their results. They're not doing this. The expertise comes from people fighting each other. It does not come from scientists cooperating a lot. Most of the time, they're like literally trying to prove the others wrong so that they win. Um, so I think you're right. The compassion, the trust is very, maybe, I mean, COVID probably exacerbated a lot of things, I think,
Yeah.
and pushed a few things over. Boy. But in a hopeful sense, though, I felt like things have been coming back in some ways, at least with the class. But we have had in higher ed, I think, to have to like kind of push the community aspect of it, even
Mhm.
when it's a little more uncomfortable. But
Yeah, actually, this is kind of like a challenge because I was part of the Rise Bio program when I was a freshman here, and I signed up for that right when I applied to college. So I was like, I know I want to do this. It gave me a great community. It gave me my best friends who and my roommates who I live with. So I thought that was really meaningful, and I got all this research experience. And then this year they didn't have enough people in the cohort to
oh,
do research. So the first semester, because you start research the second semester, the first semester, they were trying to find people to be part of the learning community in the program, and just no one wanted to show up. And I
oh.
thought this was like the best community I could have been a part of. And I think people just need to put themselves out there a
Yeah,
little more.
that's hard though, isn't it? I mean,
Mhm.
I'll say it. I'll say it as a 29 plus old person, shoot, 31 plus old person that I mean, we moved to Mankato when it was COVID. I have
Mhm.
yet to really even try and find any community type stuff here, and I still lament it. And I still am like, oh, poor me. I haven't really tried a ton. I did
Mhm.
travel to Colorado the other week, and I kind of had wasn't a vision quest or anything, wasn't hiking based, but I was very like, I do have to make some changes about
Mhm.
like where I'm at if I want to feel happier. Because basically I was like, I can't afford to live in Colorado like I'd like my old ways, but Mankato is not a bad spot. Um, and I think that's another thing we've kind of joked about with like a couple of the other guests has been like, even though a place may be like just a little not as like fancy, Mankato is still a pretty cheap place to live and like still like make friends, still learn a lot. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because in an ideal professor's world, y'all are stuck in the library all the time anyway. No hiking, no fun, no skiing, no anything.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we have a lot of trails. Me me and my ex-partner, like, we used to go around Mankato a lot too. We have so many hiking trails, we have so many places to go, like, it's amazing. I think there's a lot, like, me and Emma and our friends go to bingo at Pub 500 every Tuesday,
You
like,
do?
yeah, it's amazing. I know all
Oh
the
my
people
God.
who
Can
work
I?
there.
Well, no, I can't invite myself.
No, but, like, just go. We've won
That's
probably, like,
fun.
$100,
No
but
kidding.
yeah.
Oh, that's
No,
fun.
you should go, like,
I might.
I
Yeah.
like the guys who, run it now, and they're, like,
Okay.
our age kind of, so it's
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, because I know Emma and my wife is also called Emma. Yeah, so we have to clarify that for the viewers.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, I know they do trivia and stuff too, and I
Mhm.
really want to give that a shot. Oh my God, the phones in trivia though. When I was in Omaha, Nebraska, I'm like, get them, get them.
Get
Like,
them, get them.
I played with a bunch of teachers and some of my med school friends, and the teachers were like a little older than us, and we were all the med school us were all like sheepish. And then one of
Mhm.
the teachers, March Topher, was like, "Hey, y'all got your phones? You're cheating. This question's zero,"
Yeah,
and it was kind of funny.
I've only been to one of the trivia nights there, and some of it, like, went over it was very much like, "Who starred in the Super Bowl in 2009?" I could not tell you, like, I thought it was gonna be more pop culture-y, but whatever.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh, speaking of that, you're the one good to ask. Okay, you actually recognize my movie references. Wait,
Yeah,
sometimes.
so I love movies. I
Okay,
love
good.
media. I love art.
That's
So,
yeah. And yeah, and you're probably beyond me for art because I can read super slow, sadly. So I take a while to read an actual book. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What are you? Yeah, because this is okay. This exposes a disturbing thing that I have noticed in like 2 years. That's been strange. That probably keys off our kind of our COVID like hangover period. When I do the little intro cards and I'm like interests, extracurriculars, this, more than ever the last 2 years, I have gotten sometimes as much as 20 to 30% of some of these classes that just say nothing. I don't do it. I go to the, not to shit on the gym, but I go to the gym, I walk, that's it. And it's just, I'm like, what else? Like anything. So I don't know. I don't know, and like it's okay. You can still be a fun, cool person without, if you just like the gym, it's fine. But I was just like anything, and I wanted to like shake, and I was like, what do you do? Like, what do you think about all day? But
Yeah.
not that you have to be some artistic person, and like I need to get better about reading and like understanding more a little bit. But
Yeah, I think it's good to be well-rounded, especially in STEM, because I think a lot of my classmates who mostly are pre-med or something are just so focused on one thing, and they're like, "Well, why do I have to go no, why do I have to go and volunteer?" Or like, "Why do I have to go out and do this? Like, why do I have to look appealing not just because I'm smart at science?" It's like, well, have to like have that compassion, and art kind of teaches you that. Like you have to be interested in something. You can't just do this because you want to be the smartest person who knows everything. You have to
right.
want to do things.
Yeah, and I think I'm a big like writing to learn person, and like we can't really do it in genetics because it's 95 people. But even the small little questions are fun,
Hmm.
and trust me, I read all 95, and I do toss out the ones that are just trash. That's like I like it, and I'm like no thought, no defense, no evidence, and just go with that. No, you bring up a great point that is gonna be tougher in the future as we keep we're right. So like getting into where funding may go in the next whatever we're gonna do biology and science will be there's still a sort of foundation to that we are lucky to be standing on, but you're right, we can't have a bunch of just little computational people because guess what's going to take those jobs? Just
Yeah.
yeah, just the AI overload's fun, so you can't be just a little AI all the time. And I think kind of the attack on there's there's kind of this like, oh, being in the humanities is going to make you crazy, it's going to make you upset, it's going to make you rude. It's like no, it's fine going through things and like contending and defending and disagreeing with plenty of ideas that you see and read sometimes can be, I don't know, it's a powerful way to think, and it's getting things are getting narrower.
Mhm.
Sadly, the range is decreasing. People are like, I want a Tiger Woods that will just sink the same putt over and over instead of somebody who on their feet would be like, I'm actually going to chip this in and it's going to be easier. Like, and like break the rules and like disrupt things. Um, and I think, yeah, I mean, that we try to do that here in some of the biology classes. You could probably detect in genetics. I tried with like some of the green text slides that are more
Yeah.
stories. It's like, let's think about this. Let's think about like what happened here in this historical moment that like led to this gene, playing a role, for example, like the hemophilia gene in Russia essentially toppling the last
Hmm.
monarchy, and
Yep.
like World War One getting affected by hemophilia, for example. Um, I don't know. I hope that there's still room for that, but then it comes into the problem. I don't assess the stories. And I think, oh, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I took an anthropology class last or 2 semesters ago, and I really liked it. I really liked how it brought history and biology together. So I really like that kind of stuff.
Nice.
I really think it's important to talk about genetics and kind of like its eugenic past and how it's been used to hurt people. And this should be made aware in people's minds who maybe don't know about it.
Yeah.
So I like the stories and history. I love history, so
Yeah.
I think it's a good.
Same. We're gonna do another episode, I think, later, Sarah. We're gonna and then we're just
Okay.
gonna talk.
Okay.
No, but yeah, I kind of alluded to it. This was the first year in genetics with your group that I alluded to it because I do spend enough time on media sites that I can see the dark side brewing of things that I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, the eugenics thing it's coming back and it is screaming back.
Yeah.
I can see it and like it's just like, oh, that I remember this. And again, this is where like, and I've said this in classes a bunch, but I'm not going to break the fourth wall and self-important myself. But simple solutions to complicated things
Mhm.
are dangerous, and we are in the time of not only the simplest of solutions being the fastest headline. Half the time, they're not even the simple ones are just wrong,
Yeah.
and you're there first, and there it is, click. Um, and I think this brings up another. Have you ever seen the movie Dogma by Kevin Smith? It's kind of a
I actually
hidden.
have.
No way. You've seen Dogma
I've
with Ben
seen with
Affleck as the angel and Matt Damon's the angel
no,
too.
I thought Alan Rickman was the
Alan
angel.
Rickman's also the angel.
Okay,
You've seen
yeah.
Dogma?
Yeah.
Oh man, this
Yeah,
is
Jay and
good.
Silent Bob.
Hell yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay. One of the lines that is so underrated. So Loki is the angel that Matt Damon is.
Hmm.
And he's like, do you know how hard it is to like rain down hellfire and blah blah blah? He's one of the angels of death. He lights this line up that is so underrated. He's like, any asshole with a pack of matches can burn a
Mhm.
building down.
Mhm.
And people forget like how easy it is to be, I'm just gonna say it, a piece of shit. And it's easy to be bad.
Yeah.
It's easy to be bad. And I think if we wanted to play the misinformation game, I've got a PhD. I could load up some terrifying website that was like, you're gonna sign all this crap, I'm gonna mail you a pill for $500, it's gonna cure your cancer.
Mhm.
And be like, yep, I lured this all up, and side effect might be death.
Yeah, did you see this Super Bowl ad actually? Like
Mm,
this past Super Bowl, it was from I don't know, you can cut this if you want. It was
that's okay.
by him and her, and it's like a supplement company. It's like
Okay.
women and men's vitamins. And they did this like whole basically commercial about how the things we eat aren't really nutritious anymore and you need to eat more vitamins, but at the end it was like a unregulated
Yeah.
Ozempic like
Ah.
thing, and it's
Oh,
like,
I heard
"Oh,
about this.
why are
It
we
was
doing
actually it
this?"
was an Ozempic ad at the end, and it
Yes.
was like the little quick prescription
Yeah,
Ozempic. Yeah.
and yeah, I looked into it, and it's, like, completely unregulated, like, this is
Oh wait,
crazy.
it's like an Ozempic sub,
Yes.
but there's no script for it. I
Yeah.
remember seeing something like, you're right. Okay, now I'm jogging my memory.
Mhm.
My social media
And
memories are coming back.
yeah, I thought it was gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, like, we need to be more, hold these companies more accountable for putting stuff in our food," and it's like,
Mhm.
"You're just putting more
Yeah, I don't know.
weird stuff into us." Like
And here's where it all comes in. And like, so I'm a cancer scientist from it all, and
Mhm.
I'll we'll see what happens with the Ozempic with the large numbers, because hey,
Yeah.
we've done vaccines in large numbers, we've done medications in large numbers, and then we see and we adjust as science does.
Mhm.
So Ozempic will be part of that, etc. And it is probably a very good targeted medication for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Given that, though, it is strange to see a essentially hormone signal injected into the tum and just been like, yeah, let's do this. Okay, I'm not injecting anything. So my role as a cancer scientist is seeing that there is deregulation in a very balanced system, and each one of us is a very balanced system. So if I wanted to take, okay, like all the time, it's like, do you want to age? No. Should I take testosterone to not age? No, because all that imbalance, guess where that leads? The cells are growing that shouldn't be growing at a certain time, and certain signals will be turned on and off that will not be good. Um, I mean, even just normal life changing stuff where hormones change is devastating for cancer, like incidence. So I don't know. I'm not saying that fake Ozempic or whatever was given is gonna have that impact, but it is a good example of we're first,
Yeah.
and you know, we didn't outweigh the uncertainty. And the cool thing with science that I'll share with you, and maybe I've said it before, but is that Voltaire was the one that said certainty is like madness. Like you
Mhm.
should doubt things,
Mhm.
but there isn't just a right and wrong, and there isn't just pure gray area. Because on one side or the other, you start to eliminate uncertainty piece by piece, observation by observation, stat by stat, until eventually there is just makes enough sense that that's it. And I mean, you get probably not going to get to too many places where it's like law of gravity, like where it's just like unstoppable. But I mean, a good example is going to be like, scientific theories that it's like we literally have nothing better to offer right now. Um, or when like a medication works and it's like, hey, it's every time we've tried this, it keeps happening the same way. Even the groups that didn't really necessarily want it to work, they still were unbiased about it. They let the data speak, and here we are. If we get away from that and we let our kind of, as humans, our emotional side of things take over, which it can every time. Like I think there's that train dilemma where it's like, would you pull the lever and like get two people, or you would just not pull the lever or something? And it's like, if you having people pull the lever versus like just make the decision makes them not do it, because I don't want to actually do that part. So the emotional side of our brain is huge. I do think that it goes back to your strong point of, even in science, we need to make sure that there is I don't know, training or exposure um, with those ideas and defending things that are tougher sometimes, or contending with them at all. That is like an exercise in failure back and forth. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I completely
Yeah.
agree. Like, I don't
No,
know. Yeah.
no, it's okay. And yeah, no, this is good. This is our heaviest episode. It's going up. But yeah, let's hit the old fun buzzword. How is the old AI looking these days?
I I'm kind of scared to be completely honest. Like especially in it does have really good uses. However, it also has really bad uses. Like I have seen so many studies now of, well, we can use AI and instead of meticulously going through all this data, we can have someone else, an AI do that. So
Right.
you're not, killing yourself over all this work when you can just have something. If it's just tedious, like, yeah, of course, like use it. It's an algorithm. But on the other hand, especially with students turning to I try really hard not to, like, if I need help with a physics homework question or something, I'll be like, "Ah, yes, that was supposed to be
Don't name
negative."
drop. What if they see this?
Well,
Oh
I don't use it to, like, complete things, but, like,
yeah.
if I'm like,
You gotta
"Oh, was it"
brainstorm with it. It
Yeah,
helps me. Yeah.
like, "Is it supposed to be negative or positive?" "Oh, I can see why now. Now I
Okay.
can go back to my homework or whatever."
Yeah.
But it's like, when people are just using it to do their work.
Outsourcing your brain.
Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be something that
We can
people
tell.
yeah, like, people need to depend on you. It's like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Like, you need to I think people need to really think for themselves, and
Yeah.
they're not doing that.
No, and I think I've gotten, I mean, as a one of the like kind of one of the as like one of the de facto pre-med advisors, I've had a
Mhm.
lot of people be like, I was like, so why do you want to do medicine? And they're like, I have no idea. I just know that I want it. I'm like, that's
That sounds
dangerous.
insane
That's
to me.
terrifying. And
Yeah.
you're going to end up being one of these physicians that just really costs a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But no, with the AI thing, it is a strange balance because on one hand, if students could use it, so like the way that like I put myself out there, we're in the open hours and the office hours like all
Mhm.
the time, and I know that that works. If there were certain prompts that could set it up to generate problems for you guys to practice or like test you through stuff, it would probably help
Yeah.
if I couldn't be there.
Mhm.
But then the game becomes so dangerous of how far do you go with it? How much do you outsource to the point that you can't do it alone anymore?
Right.
Um, and I think, I mean, for me, for writing stuff, I'm all about we're bringing those blue books back. We're writing in person. My like grand scheme would be that English classes would have labs like bio classes have, where you sit and write like a little
Oh,
shop. Yeah.
100%. That's how my high school was kinda run too. Like, it
Okay.
was I don't know. This is gonna sound weird, but so the International Baccalaureate all hinges on it's like this European style of
This
school.
is cool though. Yeah, I didn't know this about you. That you were yeah, you went to one of these.
Well,
Yeah.
it was just the closest school to where I
Oh, never mind.
lived. No, 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 no.
I thought you
Like,
got like I thought you were prestigious.
no, this is a public school.
Oh, good.
Like,
Okay. Yeah.
so, and the whole point of it is if you do the IB degree, you're supposed to go to school in Europe, but no one's rich enough to do that.
Oh, and it was an IB school. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and it was registered. Okay, yeah, registered all IB. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
And so it's all like hinges off of the theory of knowledge
Mhm.
and it's super kind of philosophical. So yeah,
You're you're describing humanism.
yeah,
You
like
believe in humans have this special.
we
Yeah, we have the thing. We have the good. We have
yeah,
yeah,
every
yeah.
single class, like we would do a Socratic seminar a week or something
Awesome.
like that, or we would have to sit down and write a
Think of that.
paper. Like, so I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Even in math
Hmm.
and biology. Like I had to write papers for math, like my
Nice.
math classes. So,
I gotta start this again. Yeah, because we could probably do the old chalkboard like final defense for your life kind of thing, like
mhm,
instead of the final exam. I might
yeah.
offer that up maybe.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
but
and
no,
as someone who does like
yeah.
a lot better on the writing portions than multiple
That's
choice.
true. I forgot. Yeah. Do you mind me saying that
No, you
to the
can, you
cameras? All
can.
right. So like I track all the data for the exams, and every time genetics is usually the first time a lot of bio students have seen a non-multiple choice,
Mhm.
and man, the brains just explode the first time. Like I've seen like when I've asked for like show like this gene in a Punnett square, I've seen like people draw mitosis, and I'm like, oh no. And so it shows everything. Don't laugh too hard. It's true. But most of the gaps between the long answer percent and the multiple choice percent are just massively skewed towards the multiple choice percent, not yours and not a few others. And then it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I respect you 4 out of the 90.
Yeah, and I think that's like kind of why, because I had to write all like I never had multiple choice answers in
Yeah.
high school. Like it was always writing something.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, the hope is like even at a larger school like we are,
mhm.
that once you get into those upper division classes, we can take a bit over for that. I need to rediscover my like fun projects a bit. I did a bunch for cancer bio that were like super goofy, but we'll have a good time. But yeah, I think we need to carry this on another time. This was hilarious and fun.
Okay.
And yeah, you're a natural podcaster person. It was
Oh,
fun. But anything else that you would share with like, I don't know, maybe somebody thinking about college, anybody that like, what's a misconception you feel like you bucked, like in your story, and then
mhm.
we'll end on that.
Well, I kind of feel like obviously you shouldn't think college is the only option. If you hate doing school, don't do it. If you really don't want to do school, don't go to college. Um, but on the other hand, I do kind of feel like college is kind of being demonized of you have to pay all this money to get a degree that's going to be useless and you're just going to end up working a marketing job or something. But I think if you truly care about the things you study, I it's obviously going to pay itself out in the end. Like I love biology. So obviously like this is what I would be doing. So I really wouldn't go to college if I didn't know what to do. And I know that might be controversial cuz so many people go to college now with an undeclared major. They don't know what they want to do, but I think you should go in with a plan.
That's fair. No, and that's like, and that's definitely like, I mean, it open, and we said this last episode, it opens more doors than it closes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think that allows like the things, even the abstract things we talked about, like the ability to write, fail, learn, get better, revise, with the chance to build community and stuff.
Yeah.
But how hard that can be. And
Mhm.
it's not just gonna like show up for you. And again, like I said, I reflect, I am learning that now that I have to do a little better at that. I'm gonna go to bingo. I'll be in the corner winning.
Okay.
I'll cheat somehow. No, I
No,
can't. I don't know how.
trust, we thought, and it cannot be done.
It's awesome. Yeah, and again, we didn't even get to like some of the other fun, like stuff. So we'll run this back. Maybe we'll have
Okay.
Emma join one time. That'll be funny.
Yeah.
We'll have her. Yeah, you can have the headphones. She'll just have to listen in. But no, we'll
I
have a good
think
time.
that's her worst nightmare is me talking and
Oh, and
her
her
listening over there.
can see that. Yeah, viewers, you'll meet Emma eventually.
Mhm.
But anyway, Sarah, thanks so much. It's always fun to talk with you, and especially somebody who loves biology. You know, mutual souls on that for sure. So good
Yeah.
times.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.